Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to the channel. I'm licensed psychotherapist and musician Jim Morris, and we are here spreading the healing power of music. Today, the highly requested Chalk Outlines by Ren and Chinchilla. So it looks like this would be his first time to enter this room. He's looking around, checking things out. Get these old ledgers and books, and looks like all sorts of files. Maybe, there goes the lights. Maybe the basement of a hospital would be my first impression. Maybe not. Let's see. What do we have here?
Still here in this bed that I crawled in. I hope that I'm someone else in the morning.
The way he's looking with his eyes, it's almost like he's making this up on the spot, where he's pausing just ever so slightly. What a great choice for him to not use a pick as he's playing this. It sounds great. He's getting a nice clean sound out of this Strat and the acoustics in this area, whether it's a basement or wherever it is. It sounds really good. So he said he crawled into bed and he hopes that he's somebody else in the morning, which isn't great, but it's better than I crawled into bed and I hope that I don't wake up in the morning.
So take this one, wash it down and you'll be fine.
Psychotropics.
Walk around in the floating chalk outline.
And then, oftentimes the side effects with psychotropics, cloudy headed, you can feel numb, you could feel nothing, you could feel the opposite. I mean, there's a long list of side effects, but as he's talking about chalk outline, it's pretty clear to me that the way that the psychotropics are affecting him is that it's almost like you feel like a zombie, and that you don't feel like yourself. You feel cloudy-headed, kind of doped up to where you just can't think clearly. You can't feel authentically. And it's like emotional death in a sense. And that's what I hear in this walking chalk outline, I think is what he said, right? To where he's not talking about, at a crime scene where you see the chalk outline on the ground. This chalk outline is still moving. And so we're talking about emotional death. Just you're feeling numb. You're emotionally bankrupt.
So it goes, let it be. In the gallows, balanced on my toes so I can breathe.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that when you are so overwhelmed with whatever the psychological issue is, that you feel like you are walking up to the precipice. You are at the edge and you're looking over the cliff. And he's using this metaphor of the gallows. And when you're at the gallows and you've got the noose around your neck, and what do as you're struggling to try and buy a little more time with the hope that maybe somehow, some way, this isn't going to happen. And he's up on his tippy toes. And that's what taking these pills are. Taking these pills are really like getting up on your tippy toes. The noose is still around your neck and you're still not sure what's going to happen. But you feel like, what other choice do I have? And, that's such a sad and scary place to be. And to have to go through that alone can make it even worse.
But little by little, bit by bit, I push it back down with a new habit. If not for long, just for a while, I'll bury myself with a great big smile. Oh my, oh my, we trace ourselves in these chalk outlines. Oh my, oh my, erase ourselves in
There
these
goes the
chalk
lights again.
outlines.
Sertraline and a sip of serotonin.
Citrulline and a sip of serotonin. Where did she come from? The camera pans. She wasn't in the room previously. The camera pans and it's like, bam, surprise. And isn't it that way with emotions that can be unpredictable? That they pop out of nowhere. Surprise. It's like, oh man, I didn't see that coming. It's like I got emotionally ambushed. That just came out of left field. Man, I wish I'd have seen that one, and I could have dodged it. And so I can see that being communicated here with how Chinchilla is come in, and she's taken this a step further and specifically addressing a couple of psychiatric medications.
Don't cry, 'cause there's a pill for everything. Take this one, wash it down and you'll be fine. The feeling goes and you draw a chalk outline.
So it goes, let it be. In the gallows, I'm balanced on my toes so I can breathe.
So, looking at what both of them are wearing with these all white outfits, which to me resemble what you would see in a old psychiatric hospital, like the movie with Jack Nicholson, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is like what they wore in the movie, The Patients. And so to think that it would be possible that, these guys are likely in a situation where they're being medicated, they're expected to comply and take their medication, and if they don't, just like in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, there's going to be consequences. If you want to participate in this activity, if you want to be able to go outside and get some fresh air, you need to take your medication. And if you don't, and then there's consequences. And then if things get elevated and we start arguing and we start to rebel, and it gets even worse. And so I can see the relationship in what these guys are singing about, which they sound really good together, and how things can tailspin, and why it's so important for us to hear this type of message, even if we're not in a situation where we're the ones who are taking psychotropic medications, to know that that's not, the correlation doesn't mean causation, right? So that's not what I'm saying either, is that psychotropic meds are to blame, because it could be a number of different things that can put us in that state. And regardless of what has led to being in that place mentally, it's important to recognize that the choices that we make are sometimes limited. So make the best choice that you can at the time that's going to open up additional options in the days ahead. Hopefully that makes sense. Because what we're trying to do is gain more independence. And if right now the best that we can hope for is getting up on our tiptoes while we're at the gallows, then we'll get to a point where we don't have to tiptoe. The rope's not as tight. We can slowly get our arms loose so that we can loosen the rope and we can make progress from there. So it's one step at a time.
But little by little, bit by bit, I push it back down with a new habit. If not for long, just for a while, I'll bury myself with a great big smile. Oh my, oh my, we trace ourselves in these chalk outlines. Oh my, oh my, erase ourselves.
One of the things that shifted whenever Chinchilla came in was that he was no longer looking to me like he was writing the song in the moment, that he was trying to come up with the next verse or whatever the next chord was going to be. As she joined him, it just fit to where it was more natural. He seemed more comfortable because somebody was walking this path with him. And that's what I'm talking about with how much more difficult it is if you try and go it alone. And so it's a great example of what Ren and Chinchilla are helping us to better understand here.
It's such a perfect day, take it just in case, take it just in case. I'm scared of being okay, cause all things change, all things change. It's such a perfect day, it's a beautiful shame, it's a beautiful shame. I'm scared of being okay, cause all things change.
Now, to be scared of being okay because you don't think it's going to last, to be hesitant to actually not only recognize the progress that you're making, but to actually get to a point to where you're able to celebrate it and own it and allow yourself to feel it authentically and fully. That fear of it's not going to last. Is it real? What's going to happen if, but what if this and what if that? And then we start playing the what if game and our anxiety starts to really ramp up because this is what we know. And because it's so common, it's familiar to us. And again, familiarity brings comfort, feelings of safety, and security. And so that can be something that we never expect. That's that, man, I never saw that coming. Well, that was straight out of left field. And that's what I'm talking about. It's these things that sometimes we need other people to be able to help us to anticipate and to actually recognize whenever they happen.
But little by little, bit by bit, I'll push it back down with a new habit.
And pushing it back down, as they're talking about this, we're talking about coping mechanisms. We're talking about denial. We're talking about substituting or replacing one bad habit with another. And so getting caught up in that cycle is something that's also part of what has to be worked through as we attempt to get rid of the chalk outline, of the emotional death, of the emotional numbness, of being able to restore life so that we can no longer have to worry about chalk outlines, and we can start creating something that has meaning, purpose, and value, not only for ourselves, but for those that we love and care about.
If not for long, just for a while, I'll bury myself with a great big smile. Oh mama, we trace ourselves in these chalk outlines. Oh mama,
erase ourselves in these chalk outlines.
And moving from walking chalk outlines and floating chalk outline, and then we erase ourselves, not even being able to any longer see who we really are. And it is so important to not lose sight of your identity. And that's really the bottom line of what this song is about. So thank you guys for joining me today. I want to give a special shout out to Nehemias, who supported the channel through buymeacoffee.com. Nehemias, thank you very much. Sincerely appreciate it. On behalf of all the people who are going to benefit from the videos here at Psychotherapist Reacts, we appreciate it. Until next time, everyone, remember that music has healing power.